Hey everybody, here we are for another round of Really OK Golf. Today we are at Trails of Frisco in Frisco, Texas. It's actually not far from the new PGA headquarters. I'm going to be playing the white tees today with my good friend AC. Now don't let the course rating fool you. It's a tough course that demands accuracy and punishes poor shot making. Today I'll show you a bit of both. So buckle up, let's get started with this par 5, which for me is one of the more comfortable holes on the course. My opening drive is a bit high, but safely in the fairway.
It's high, but it'll play.
The best strategy for me here is simply to lay up, so I pull out my 7-iron and set up for a comfortable wedge. I like anything from 125 yards and in, so this is just right. My stand wedge isn't perfect, but it reaches the middle of the green and we're putting for birdie. Now these greens can be a bit tricky, but I handle this long putt pretty nicely and tap in for an opening par. Hole number 2 is the one they warn you about in the clubhouse. Unless you're long and confident with your driver, you have to lay up in front of a creek, which is right in the middle of this dogleg right. A poor tee shot to the right leaves you with a blind approach. But this is one of the rare times I can actually see the green. The preferred miss is short, so I take a 6-iron and see how close I can get it. It's alright, and I have my chance at an up and down. Normally, I chip with my most lofted wedges, but the lie doesn't favor that kind of shot, so I go for the bump and run with my pitching wedge. The problem is I normally run these past the hole, and this is no exception, but it's not tragic. What is tragic, however, is hitting the ground first with my putter. I have my first really bad shot of the day, and it's going to cost me. The bogey putt trickles past, and
that was a very avoidable double bogey.
Number 3 is a tough par 3. If I'm ever going to pull my tee shot with an iron, it's here. Adding to it, the tee box feels like a construction zone, and the wind is in my face. I club way up with a 7-iron and proceed to pull it left. Saved by the bunker, but as you can see, it's pretty windy and my tripod has the first of several wind-related accidents. Thankfully, AC comes to the rescue, and I'm able to get out of the bunker and onto the green for a long par save. This was a theme for much of the day on the greens, missing high and rolling past the hole uncomfortably far. The comebacker is also high, and I settle for a second consecutive double.
Very avoidable doubles.
Big numbers early and around can set the tone for the rest of the day, but they don't have to. And this will be proof, because things are about to get better.
That was perfect.
I'm left here with about 65 yards into the wind, which is spot on for my 64-degree wedge. I bought it for $2 at a thrift store, mostly as a joke, but it's become perhaps the favorite club in my bag, and this is why.
Woo! It is good.
Dang.
Well, here's where it landed.
I'm such a dork, but a dork with a birdie. When pro golfers get a bogey, they're looking for that bounce-back birdie. As for me, when I get a birdie, I try to avoid the bounce-back bogey. But this isn't an easy hole for me to score on, especially into the wind. Thankfully, my drive is okay, and I actually play this next shot very thoughtfully, aiming left with plenty of club to make sure I cover the creek and get within chipping distance. Mission accomplished. I'm a bit disappointed to find my ball in some salad, but ironically, it helps me focus more, and sometimes it works in my favor when I get a bad lie. After a quick look, I can see this is another great shot for my 64-degree wedge, and I pull off another beauty that almost goes in the hole.
Woo!
I'll take a tap-in par on hole number 5 any day, even if I sound like a dork in the process. The par 3 6th is only playing 120 yards today, but with the wind in my face, I put my pride away and pull out an 8-iron. It's a good choice, and AC agrees. The uphill birdie putt dips under the hole, but it's another tap-in par, and I'm just fine with that. I see pretty much every par 5 as a 3-shot hole, but on the par 5 7th here, with the wind at my back, I'm thinking about getting there in 2. Unfortunately, the drive does not cooperate.
That was a bad kick.
I'm able to find it, but it's in the hazard area, and I can't play it out. So I take a drop and pull out my 5 wood to get it up there as far as possible. I hit it pretty well, but it's drifting right and setting me up for yet another short wedge. Will my 64 degree come to the rescue again?
Go.
I had the right idea, but didn't give it quite enough juice. I'm pretty grateful to have a par putt here, but it comes up short,
Yep, that was right.
and we settle for bogey. With the wind still at my back, I feel like I can get it pretty close on this shorter par 4.
Dang it. Still going right.
I'm a little bummed that I keep going right, but this one lands on the backside of a hill and kicks forward almost even with the pin, setting me up for another 64 degree save.
No idea. Let's see when we get up there.
My shot was pin high and left me with a very makeable putt, which I thought was for par.
Birdie?
Par.
Par.
Oh, wait. That was a birdie.
The 9th hole requires some real finesse. The ideal landing area is somewhere around that arrow, otherwise you end up in some trouble. I hit a pretty sweet 3 hybrid that puts me in the ideal position. I'm uncertain which way the wind is blowing here, but I make a good focused swing with my 55 degree wedge,
Go.
and it's on the green. Any hole where I end up with a birdie putt is a good hole. And even though I missed this one once again high and long, I'm pretty okay with the result.
Karski.
Now's a good time to talk about the power of our thoughts. Knowing this is a tough course for me, I mentally shelved all expectations when I started the round. But as I started the long walk between 9 and 10, I realized that I had shot a 39 on the front for my first time in the 30s on this course, even with a pair of double bogeys early in the round. In my excitement, I made 2 careless mental mistakes. First, I began creating an expectation and projection for what my final score could be, rather than staying mindfully in the present. Then, in that proud moment, I began wondering what the theme of this video would be. That's where a weak belief system about success in golf found its opening and inserted a thought that took hold immediately. And that thought persisted, even though I tried to brush it away. Spoiler alert, it tells the story of the rest of my round. Scoring-wise, the main problem here isn't that I pull my tee shot into the creek, it's that I make a poor decision to hit a second ball instead of simply taking a drop. I wouldn't have given up much distance, and I'd be lying 2 instead of 3. Great shot, that one. Seriously, that felt really, really good. And it sets me up for my favorite club, but here I make my second mental error of the hole, and don't account at all for the increase in elevation.
Did not give that one enough. Dang it.
My swing is weak, and I'm left with a really long bogey
Way
putt.
too hard. Holy cow.
Flustered a bit, I launch it past the hole, miss the comebacker, and double my score over par in one fell swoop. I try to shake it off and get redemption on this short par 3, but redemption will have to wait.
Oh my gosh. I hardly hit that. I hit that so bad.
The ball stays up but is unplayable, so I take a drop and make another mental error by using the wrong club for this chip. It runs by the hole, and I just miss the long bogey putt. As I swallow another big number, I reveal the thought that is dominating my mind.
Man, tail of 2 9s so far. All right, bounce back.
I follow up that positive thought with an okay swing, but it's going the wrong way and leaves me with an intimidating approach.
Oh, pulled the crap out of it.
I've been over here a few times and had good results, so I'm actually looking forward to this shot, and the old 64 doesn't disappoint. However, I'm still flustered and pressing and don't take advantage. This bogey hurts. But it's just a bogey, which is about right for me on this hole. At least that's what I'm telling myself as I step up to the shorter 13th. I set up for the slice and, of course, pull it dead straight. It ends up being a lost ball, so I take another penalty stroke, and the disappointment definitely affects my approach shot, which I don't hit cleanly at all. At this point, all the momentum from the front 9 is officially gone as I try to get up and down for bogey. It's within the 3-foot circle, which is good, but I pull another short putt and get another punch in the gut. The par 3 14th is between clubs for me, so I pull out the shorter club and try to channel some of my pent-up frustration into getting it close. I hit it a groove low, but it's definitely okay for this front pin. I decide to pull out the old Texas wedge. I judge the distance well, but I misjudge how hard the fringe will push the ball left. The 7-footer for par is makeable, but another pulled putt just misses, and it's another square on the card. By my count, poor mental execution has cost me 5 to 7 strokes on the back nine. So when I get to this impeded approach shot, I'm determined to be smart. I club way up to keep the ball under the wind and try to fade it in there. It doesn't go exactly according to plan, but I feel good for trying. In case there's any doubt about it being windy, my tripod takes another tumble. I guess it can't handle the pressure of bunker shots. Thankfully, I regroup, and even with an awkward stance, it's a good out and onto the green. Then, a miracle. Man, this game can make you crazy. I hope to carry that success into the next hole, but instead the tale of 2 nines continues with a weak pitching wedge. This bump and run looks really good though, and just misses hitting the hole. So instead of a glorious chip in, I'm left with a testy par putt that runs out of gas and leads to another B word. 17 is a straight version of hole 2, where you have to hit less than driver to lay up short of trouble. I'm thinking a pair of 3 hybrids will do the trick. Both have right-leaning tendencies, but the green is much more receptive from the right side than the left, so this is okay. My 64 pulls up a little bit short, but leaves me with a makeable par putt. Unfortunately, the putting woes continue. And at this point, I'm pretty much beaten into submission.
Oh, that should have been a par.
The final hole is a challenging par 5 with a fairway that's pretty hard to hit. Had this one faded, it would have been perfect. Instead, I have a really tough but playable lie. It's hard to explain what happens here, but I end up aiming way offline and hit it way cleaner than expected. It sails straight toward a house and hits so hard off the roof that I thought it ricocheted back into play. The ball doesn't quite make it out of the yard, so I have to add a couple of strokes for OB and a drop, and I'm hitting my 5th. I have to lay it up from this distance to avoid the creek that guards the green. This is a bit of a downhill lie, and I'm running out of gas. I don't stay down on it and blade it long and right, leading to a tricky shot with the Texas wedge. This one is never high enough and leaves me with a long ways to go.
Making it tough on myself.
The 10-footer slides by, and I close with a 9er to break 90 by a whisker. Bruised but not broken, I'm thankful for a fun round with a good friend. I'll definitely be back. It certainly was a tale of 2 nines. There were a lot of big numbers on the back, but focusing on the story of the front 9 gives me hope that I can actually play this game after all. What's funny is my next 2 rounds follow a similar pattern to this one, but the gap gets smaller and smaller. Please like this video and subscribe so you can see all the really okay golf that's coming soon.